students, and again back. I hope you had a wonderful 2 weeks break, and I hope that you might have revised all the chapters which we have completed. That is 4 chapters and a very small part of this second chapter of history, that is from K to 10. Now we will further continue with the same chapter. That is the third one, that is East India Company began trade in Bangkok. Here we will see that how East India Company, as we all know that this East India Company, Britishers came to India, right, to Eastern countries. They got a permission from their Queen Elizabeth I, right, and they came to India just only for trade purpose, right. But ultimately, slowly and gradually, when they saw that there are many other countries who are already doing the good business and lavish business in India, so, and the demand of each and everything, that is either it is cotton, either it is spices, either it is muslin, everything which they wanted. Other countries were also being interested in the same things, right? So they, here we will see the trading Bengal, right? The first English factory was set up on the river bank of Hooghly in 1651. Now this was the base of the company. Here you will see in the picture also, this is the river bank of the Hooghly, and nearby they have started their offices also. Means it becomes very easily that where whatever the imports and exports are being done, wherever the ships were being loaded and unloaded on that river banks only, they have started opening their offices also. So that becomes very easier for their communication and for their official works, right? Even they also started the settlements, means they started to stay around the places. Here you can see in the pictures also that it becomes very easy, convenient. Even we also will think that if our business place or workplace is very nearby, then it is very convenient for us to communicate, or it becomes very easy to come and go, right? So that is the reason. Now that each and everybody, they started their own factory also and their warehouses. Warehouses, as you all know, that warehouses is where all the stuff is been stored. Extra stuff means unless and until that is not being put in into the market, till then they need to store somewhere. Their goods needs to be stored somewhere where it is called, which is the place which is known as a warehouse, right? Warehouse where the goods for the export was stored, and it had offices where the company officials stayed. As the trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle nearby factories. As I told you that near the Bangkok river, they have opened their offices also, their factories also, and their settlements also, as you can see in the pictures, right? So this was the thing, and 2 years later they started writing, because there was a Mughal king who were not allowing. Actually, they got a permission from Mughal only that to trade, to get a trading in India. They got a permission to trade in India, and that too a free trade. Free trade in the sense that whatever the trading they are doing, they don't have to pay any taxes or any revenue on that particular business. But for that only they have asked a permission from the Mughals, right? And there were the 3 villages. Now out of that, one of the villages was Calicut, today which we are knowing as a Kolkata or Calcutta, right? Now it was persuaded that Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a firman. Now Aurangzeb has issued a firman. उन्होंने एक फरमान जारी किया था that granting the company the right to trade a duty-free trade. Now that was only for the company, but slowly and gradually what happened? These Britishers, they started their personal business also. Means not only company's business, they were also doing their own personal business also in under head of this trade duty free, right? Duty free trade. they started their own business also with this head, right? So that was unfair on our part, and this the Britishers were very smart, and they got a permission for the company's head, but slowly and gradually they started doing business of their personal, their individual business also, which Mughals didn't like it. Mughals were not at all happy with this fact. Now the company tried continuously to press for the more concession. They started getting more and more concession. Means, see, a person's greed will never end. If a person has greed today, it will grow and grow later. So your same thing happened with the Britishers also. Their greed never ended, right? They want more and more, because once they saw that there is a lot of things in India, lot of prosperity in India, lot of gold in India, lot of money in India, and the people, they can manipulate very easily. Our people were very innocent, very calm, very kind. So what they started manipulating the things, right? Existing here. Now Aurangzeb's Farman, for instance, had granted only the company the right to trade duty free, right? But officials of the company who were carrying on a private trade on the side were expected to pay the duty. Now what Aurangzeb issued a farman in that he clearly mentioned that only and only the trade will be only for the company, not for their personal business. It is officially they started this farman, right? And they don't have to do any private business under this head, right? Now this was refused to pay policy and enormous loss of the revenue for Bengal. Now what happens slowly and gradually, because as we all know that Bengal was one of the biggest province in those days, and it was economically also very sound and having a lot of money from Bengal we were having in those days, right? So that was the only thing. Now that was the reason that they refused to pay, causing an enormous loss for the revenue for the country. Now this was the reason that Bengal started declining in the economy, right? The economy of Bengal started going down. Totally it was finished, you can say that way, right? Bengal was nowhere in the economy because they were not getting any money, because all these British officials when they passed this agreement that they have a duty-free trade, but that was only for the company, that was only for the East India Company, not for their private business. But they started doing their private businesses also under this head, which was unofficial and which was a great loss to the Bengal province. That was a great loss for India. That was a great loss for Mughals, you can say. Now this Mughals cannot tolerate anymore. So there was a Nawab of Bengal, Murshid Ali Khan. They protested. Now what he tried to do, that we will see how trade led to a battles. Previously there was, right now, till now, there was no as such battles being fought, but now there were chances of battles. We will see in this session that battles were being fought for certain purposes. That is, one of the battle was a Plassey and another was a Buxar. You must have heard previously also about the battle of Plassey and battle of Buxar. Now, up till now there was no battle, but now there was a need for a battle. So through the early 18th century, the conflicts between the company and the Nawabs of the Bengal intensified. Now then, as we all know, that after the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawab asserted their power and autonomy as other regional powers were doing at that time. Now Murshid Ali Khan was followed by Ali Badri Khan and then Siraj-ud-Dawla as a Nawab. Now these were the people. After Murshid Ali Khan, he was followed by Ali Badri Khan, and then came the Siraj-ud-Dawla, right? The step by step these they were being followed. The what you can say, the dynasty was being followed. Now each of them was a stronger, as we all know that each of them, they were very strong ruler, very powerful ruler. They refused to grant company's concession, demanded large tributes for the company's right to trade, denied if any right to mint coins. They also denied to mint their coins. You know, in the previous years, means right now we have a currency notes, that is a paper notes or the plastic money which we call today, that is a smart money, right? But previously we were having a coins, minted coins. We all know that, right? This minted coin, either there was a impression of a queen or the king on that coins, and those were made up of either gold or silver or bronze, right? So you will see, so they denied if any right to mint the coins, and also stop it from extending its fortification, and also stop that these coins will no more work any more further. Means there will be no point into action, right? Slowly and gradually they stop minting the coins also, and no kings and queens impression will be there on their coins. No, you might be seeing that in our coin also there is an impression of our either our any, what you can say, if you see 1 rupee coin also, there is one, right now it is one thumbs up, and that side it is mentioned that 1 rupee, right? Similarly there also it has been mentioned everything on that coin, right? Now you will see yes. Now the conflicts led to the confrontations, and yes, you will see to this that I'll show you how it is made. Yes, yes. Conflict led to the confrontation, and finally culminated in the famous Battle of Plassey. You will see the Battle of Plassey here, right? Now the next step is the Battle of Plassey. But before that, something about the Alivardi Khan. Now Alivardi Khan, he died in 1756. Now Sirajuddaula became the Nawab of Bengal. After the death of the Alivardi Khan, in 1756, now Sirajuddaula became the Nawab of the Bengal. The company was worried about this power, and he was very keen on a puppet ruler. He was just a puppet ruler. Puppet ruler means he was just acting on the sake of the others. Means whatever the Britishers used to say to Sirajuddaula, he don't want to be a puppet ruler, because as others had became a puppet ruler, Sirajuddaula never wanted that he should be only a puppet ruler of the Britishers, right? Puppet ruler who was willingly give trade concessions and other privileges, right? So he tried through without success to help one of the Sirajuddaula's rival became the Nawab. Now that was the thing. Now if the Sirajuddaula is not listening to the British East India Company, but obviously the British East India Company will never wanted such type of people who becomes a hurdle, who becomes an obstacle on the way. So what they did, one of the biggest rival of this Sirajuddaula, for that Nawab, they tried to bribe that person and tried to make him Nawab instead of Sirajuddaula, and infuriated Sirajuddaula asked the they started implementing on the Siraj-ud-Dawla. Right. Now, after the negotiation failed, the Nawab marched. Now, what they did? The Nawab, they all this fortification failed. After that, what they did? The Nawab, after negotiation failed, the Nawab marched with 30,000 soldiers to the English factor at Qasim Bazaar, captured the company officials. They locked the warehouses and disarmed all the English men and blocked the English ships. Those English ships which has been boarded from the England via this Indian Oceans, via the sea route, they blocked all the ships on the way only, on the midway only. They blocked all the ships and they even then they marched to the Calcutta to establish control over the company front there, right? So these were the things. This was the biggest thing which happened in the history during this trade to territory. That Nawab, as we all know, that Nawabs were very strong due to that thing, and they had their own power in that also. So next thing here, now as all these things happen, now how could Britishers be happy? So Robert Clive was the person who did like all these things. It brings in the first major victory for the company in India. On hearing the news of the fall of the Calcutta, company officials in the Madras sent forces under the command of the Robert Clive. Now Robert Clive, he sent certain officials. He sent certain officials there and reinforced the naval fleet. Now prolonged negotiations with the Nawab followed. Finally in 1757, Robert Clive led the company's arm against the Siraj-ud-Dawla at Plassey. Now one of the main reasons for the defeat of Nawab was that the force led by the Mir Jafar, one of the this force was led by the Mir Jafar, which was the biggest commander, or you can say commander-chief of the Siraj-ud-Dawla. Now never fought the battle. Now Clive had managed to secure his support by promising to make him Nawab after crushing, right, Siraj-ud-Dawla. The Battle of Plassey became famous because it was the first major victory of the company and won in India. Now this was the thing. Now they all know, Britishers all know that it is not possible that to fight with this Nawab is very easy. Means they cannot defeat them so easily, right? So they thought about the other way out. They bribed Mir Jafar, who was also in the greed of the chair, on the throne, you can say, the power, right? So he wanted to bribe this Mir Jafar, saying that after if you are working with us, then we will make you Nawab after the defeat of the Siraj-ud-Dawla. So in the greed of this post, the greed of the power, Mir Jafar did the things and this Battle of Plassey happened, right? Now you will see further. Yes. Now Diwan of the provinces of the Bengal, you will see. In 1765, Mughal Emperor appointed the company as a Diwan of the provinces of the Bengal. Now here, what this Britishers did, they appointed Mughal Emperor, appointed the company. Mughals have to appoint the company people as the Diwan of the provinces of the Bengal. Now here, what is the thing? The Diwan allowed the company to use the vast revenue resources of the Bengal. They allow to use this vast revenue of the Bengal. Now after the Battle of the Plassey, you will see,